Welcome to the third lesson of this free Life Essentials Masterclass, How to Achieve the True Goal of Life. This is the complete lesson and version 1. If you're watching and listening to this somewhere online and want to find the other lessons to this Life Essentials Masterclass, our other books, shows, classes, videos, groups, events, and more, go to our website, 7wayme. That's the hub for everything. That's the number 7, WAY.me. In the first lesson, we discovered the rules of life and the meaning of life, as well as we learned about free will, choice, why we are here, and a lot more. In the second lesson, we learned the true goal of life, as well as about wealth, power, fame, corruption, success versus true success, and a lot more. Now, in this lesson, we reveal the 4 parts of the solution on how to achieve the true goal of life. Now, don't take this lightly. These 4 characteristics are essential for us all to understand because they can pose much of what life is all about. These are not just my ideas. Since the beginning of time, one or more of these characteristics have been part of the recommendations by all of our great thinkers, success and self-help books like coaching, religions, faith, and other positive belief systems. Within this lesson, you will also learn the difference between right and wrong and what it means to be a good person of good character, as well as what it means to be corrupted and fall to the dark side. Knowing all 4 parts to the total solution will save you a lot of time and money and help you go faster and farther in life so that you can unlock your true potential. The 4 characteristics of the way are simply stated as living, rational, positive action. Why living, rational, positive action? Living because the solution we need must be something that we can do all of the time. It must be part of our life, not just something that we do once in a while or that we have to spend years on a mountaintop to get anywhere. We must be the solution. Living rational because the solution must be reasonable and logical. It must be holistic, covering all of life. For we're only as strong as our weakest link, and therefore we must shore up all of our fronts if we are to truly win. The solution must include an implementation plan that is totally customizable to fit our life, my life, everybody's life, and it must be fun and all the rest. The solution we seek is living rational positive because the positive is about producing good results. The good is something that we all prefer. The good naturally leads us to what we really want for ourselves, our loved ones, and our world. This fundamental knowledge of the positive is instinctual, as in, you know you want clean water and not poisoned. You want to be loved and not hated, right? The idea of positive, good, and better within humanity is expressed as virtues. Virtues are the qualities that humanity. Virtues are traits or qualities that humanity has deemed positive, good, admirable, and at times morally good and righteous. These are the traits we admire in others and that we want for ourselves. You can find a lot of leaders pointing to some, as in Benjamin Franklin had his 13 that he worked on. But the problem is that you need to integrate most of the virtues as quickly as possible if you really are going to be your best. Because of the importance of virtue to our success, I'm going to take a minute and list quite a few of these so you can see how varied and important each one is. Note that this is a large list, but it's still only a partial list. Also, you might notice how some are complementary and others are different. Another remarkable fact about virtues is that they make perfect affirmations, which are positive belief statements that help direct us in who we really want to be. I teach about affirmations in more detail within the Way and other trainings. However, for right now, know that affirmations are positive, personal, and present statements that confirm a trait that you have or aspire to attain. Affirmations, again, they work well with virtues, as in, I am happy, As in, I am positive, I am happy, I am hopeful, optimistic, peaceful, good, self-controlled, free, mindful, grateful, humble, reasonable, rational, resilient, persevering, independent, curious, flexible, tolerant, intelligent, wise, creative, knowledgeable, open-minded, fun, funny, polite, brave, nice, respectful, considerate, likable, friendly, helpful, kind, caring, modest, empathetic, sympathetic, a great listener and communicator, a healthy skeptic, seeking to understand before being understood, disciplined, determined, persistent, dedicated, confident, enthusiastic, motivated, faithful, clean, vigilant, courageous, punctual, productive, reasonable, industrious, a hard worker, a problem solver, doing a great job and going the extra mile, efficient, focused, effective, diligent, frugal, prepared, handy, organized, fair, just, honest, honorable, trustworthy, forgiving, merciful, affectionate, loving, charitable, likable, compassionate, caring for my community and world, and working toward a better society for all. Alert, sharp, relaxed, cool, calm, collected, centered, patient, rightfully loyal. Now, I'm going to stop here, but remember, there are a lot more, but I think you get my point. In general, we want most, if not all of these traits for ourselves, and we admire these in others. Also, while there may be top virtues like being positive, good, hopeful, temperate, self-controlled, disciplined, resilient, persevering, nice, honest, healthy, and rational in general, we do not rank or order them. This is because it takes many virtues to cover all parts of life, and some of them are more relevant in one moment than others. Virtues are more like a bouquet of flowers where many of them can be equally beautiful, but all are important to the overall effect. They are peers where none are better, all are equal and have their place. The key is to have virtue in balance, otherwise they can become a failing, sin, or vice. And we're going to go more into that in just a minute. However, for now, let's finish with the fourth characteristic of the solution that we all seek. The way is living, rational, positive action. Action because to be our best, we need to turn virtues into action, and we do this through best practices. A best practice is basically the best way for you to do something. With every virtue, there must be an action if we're going to make it real. For example, think about the virtue of being punctual. This requires us to take actions like setting reminders and leaving on time. To live the virtue of being healthy requires us to take a lot of different actions like having good sleep, exercise, eating habits, and more. Now, before getting overwhelmed on how to integrate all these wonderful virtues into your life and best practices, we're going to cover exactly how to do this because that's what the way is actually about. Okay, so don't worry about that. We got you covered. Okay, with that said, though, let's go deeper into actually how to make yourself a better person by living rational, positive action. Now, it takes about 90 days to acquire a habit, and a habit is really a settled way of doing something, especially one that is really hard to give up, right? It becomes part of your life. So our goal is to have positive habits based on virtues and their best practices, covering all the key areas of life that we ultimately just live without even having to try. So by adding in virtues and best practices into your life in every 90-day cycle, you're going to get better and better as time passes. This is how we continually improve and for the rest of what we need to fall into place naturally. To be clear, the way of virtue is not about being without or stopping. The way is abundance and doing, where we naturally crowd out the bad and the negative with the good and the positive. And let's stop here for just a moment and go deeper into the idea of positive and negative, good and bad, and right and wrong. I'm doing this because I've talked to many people who question whether good and bad exist and others who say things are all relative. I also hear people who don't seem to know the difference between right and wrong or what it even means to be a good person and have good character. I've even seen shows and heard leaders that are advocating negative characteristics as good traits, as in greed is good. To be clear, life is relative in some cases. For example, with the story of the hunter and the deer, as killing is good for the hungry hunter, but clearly bad for the deer, right? But good and bad is not all relative when it comes to humanity. So for clarity, the opposite of virtue, the bad, negative, and wrong that we are looking to crowd out is vice, failing, corruption, and sin. Most of us have heard of the 7 deadly sins. These include wrongful pride, envy, gluttony, lust, anger, greed, and sloth, which is laziness. To be clear, there is rightful pride, like feeling happy about something good that you have achieved, and wrongful pride, which is pride taken too far, where it becomes the sickness of superiority, where you are always the best and right no matter what. Some examples of other failings include lying, cheating, stealing, bearing false witness, deceiving, being unjust, being hateful, unfair, unequal, mean, selfish, self-righteous, spiteful, wasteful, prejudiced, and again, there's a lot more. These are the traits humanity does not want in ourselves or in other people, right? We don't like these. We don't want these in our institutions, in our companies, religions, and governments. Being full of vice instead of virtue is what it means to be a bad person, corrupted, to have bad character, and to have fallen to the dark side. What we're talking about right now, this big universal truth, is something we all have to know. To be clear, virtue overcomes all human failings, vice, corruption, and sin. I'm going to say this again because it's really key to fixing ourselves and our world. Virtue overcomes all human failings, vice, corruption, and sin. For example, living rational, positive action, being mindful, and developing good self-discipline and self-control gives you key abilities that will help you overcome all vice. Let's go over some other examples of virtues overcoming the 7 deadly sins. Know that there are several virtues that can help overcome every vice. I'm just listing one or a couple to just illustrate this point. Humility and equality overcome wrongful pride or the sickness of superiority. Kindness and love overcome envy. Temperance and self-control overcomes gluttony. Self-control, modesty, and chastity overcome lust. Patience and peace overcome wrath. Fairness, charity, and good works overcome greed. Discipline, diligence, and dedication overcome sloth. Again, virtues like self-control and discipline will help you overcome most every sin, vice, and human failing. It is what helps us not be corrupted. Now, to express this idea in another way, the way is about filling your life with the good and positive, virtues and best practices. We do not focus on what we do not want or what we are losing or giving up or letting go of, right? For example, you don't focus on quitting smoking or not smoking. Instead, you focus on living healthy by adding in good things to your life, like meditations, workouts, and more best practice actions and everything you're doing. Filling your life with the good is how you crowd out the bad and the negative. Remember, it only takes about 90 days to build a habit. So as time passes and the more good you do, the more best practices that you make into habits, the better you're going to become. Now, this should make sense that this is how you become a better and better person. This is why the way will work for you and everybody. You choosing and controlling who you create yourself into is one of the main points of life and is what determines if you win or lose at this great game of life. To be clear, this is not some small detail of life to just pass over and be like, I heard that in a video, I forgot about it, right? You need to know this. This whole concept of vice and virtue, good and bad, right and wrong, good and evil, is central to you, and me, and everybody winning or failing in life, as well as our ability to fix our world and our society. This is central to us winning and thriving in this universe as a species. If we all know and work toward the good within ourselves and our organizations, our lives, our society, and world will get better and better. So let me just take a second and clearly state the difference between right and wrong, good and evil, and what it means to have good character. Virtue is good and right and is what you are after to win in life. Vice, sin, corruption, failings are bad and wrong and what you are working to avoid. Again, this is because virtues are what humanity has labeled the best and most desired traits to attain, while vice, failing, corruption, and sin are all the bad traits and what we are trying to avoid. And once you really understand this, you're going to see virtues everywhere, right? Virtues are at the heart of morality, ethics, and people of good character. Virtues are at the center of what it means to be a good person. To say it another way, people have good character because they are virtuous people. Virtues are at the core of the oaths that we swear, the mottos we create, and the rules we make. Virtues are also at the heart of all good faiths and the goal of education, encompassing the intent of who we really want to be and what it is that we want to create in our society. Now, this insight is, again, not something to just slough off, right? This is going to save you a lot of time and money in the pursuit of knowledge for all self-help, spirituality, self-improvement, relationship, success books are all focused on virtues. The problem is that often they only talk about a few virtues and leave out how you can actually integrate them into your life. Knowing this means that you can quickly scan a lot of these books, often by just the chapter name, and find the virtue and best practice, if there is one, that they're advocating. To belabor this point even further, your understanding of virtues is a primary key that will unlock your ability to succeed in all areas of life. To say it another way, your mastery of virtue and vice is what determines your success as a human being in this great game of life. The human condition of good and evil is at the core of all life tests that we go through as individuals and collectively as a society. Many call the battle of vice versus virtue and good versus evil the primary challenge of life and is why we are here. This all ties back to the first and second lessons. For example, in the first lesson, we shared that our human conditional needs for things like food and sex force us into situations of temptation, choice, self-control, and self-creation. Like our need for food can be a virtue when it's managed correctly, as it helps us become our best, but it also can become a vice of gluttony when we take it too far. It's these life tests and choices that determine our fate. Within the second lesson, we learned wealth, power, fame, and even holiness, intelligence, and beauty are not the true goal of life, but instead challenges, tests, and temptations that can lead to vice and not to virtue. We also learned that the true goal of life is to be your best self. This insight of virtue versus vice, good versus bad, right versus wrong, will help you walk your true path to your true self in life. For this understanding will highlight the temptations that are trying to divert you from your true path. To be clear, if you live a life of confusion, negativity, and don't take the right actions, you will fail and fall to the dark side. Conversely, if you follow a clear and positive path, integrating virtues and best practices, you will become a better and better person and stay on your true path and the light side. In the end, you determine who you become. You must take the right actions to create a meaningful life and be your best. The fact is, being positive and good and making yourself into who you really want to be is a challenge. Any of us can fail or succeed. The fact is, our choice determines our fate. And this is a great gift, for it means that we are not puppets programmed just to be something. It proves we have free will and can choose the good for ourselves, our loved ones, and our world. The truth is, if enough good people get on the same page regarding the foundations and join together correctly, we can change everything for the good. To summarize the solution, the way is living rational, positive action and is about building habits around virtues and best practices that cover all of life. Over every 90-day cycle, as you build good habits in all these key areas of life, you will get better and better. It should seem obvious that this is how you improve over time and become your true self. Now that we're all on the same page regarding the meaning of life, the true goal of life, and the 4 parts to the solution, as well as what it means to be a good person and the differences between right and wrong and good and evil, next, we need the details on how to integrate all of these virtues and best practices into our life. Well, it just so happens, we pick that up in the 4th lesson, the 7 steps of the way. So be sure to catch it and the rest of the lessons of this free Life Essentials Masterclass. They will help you become who you're truly meant to be. As always, feel free to reach out to me with any suggestions or questions you may have. And if you like this and would like to help support our efforts with a tip or in other ways, you can find links below, or you can go to our website, 7wayme. That's the hub for everything. That's the number 7, WAY.me. And if you have not done so and you are somewhere where you can, please like this video. This means you right now. It's going to help others find this. It also helps if you subscribe, share, sign up for notifications, and leave a nice comment. Thank you so much for watching and all of your help. Until next time, wishing you peace, happiness, and true success always. God bless you.